Hey guys, today I'm going to tell you how to create animations in Blender. So here I've created a simple scene, you can see, with a cube and a floor grid. Both are just cubes of different proportions. So first we will start, and by the way, sorry for the absolutely horrible sound quality. I'm literally recording this on a headphone. So to record an animation, we first talk about frames. So frames are pictures which are placed on top of one another in order to create a long video. A video is just a long array of many pictures that run one after another, which makes up a videos. So when we make an animation Blender, we make certain changes at certain points, and the frames at which we make changes are called the keyframes. So let's start with a basic animation where this cube here, uh, let's name it something cool. Anime. All right. So what we're going to do now is make it move a little bit. So how we're going to do this is pretty simple actually. We're just going to add a keyframe. How we add a keyframe is we click a particular key. Oh, sorry about that. So what we're going to do now is add a keyframe. We can add a simple keyframe by just clicking I. And when you click I, you will see at first frame we have created a keyframe. So it highlights it using this little diamond. So now what we're going to do is go to the next frame. So let's uh, go to the 10th frame and move it a little bit to the side. So we're, with the snapping, we're just going to move it to like uh here. That looks good. And now what we're going to do is add another keyframe here. So we just click I once again, and it adds another keyframe. Wait a second. All right, so we have another keyframe now, I think. Wait. And always remember to select your objects when you keyframe something, because objects, the entire scene is never keyframed. Certain objects are keyframed and they move at different locations. So that's how we select it. So now we have this one keyframe, and at 10, we're going to change the position and add another keyframe. And then we're going to make it so that it wait a second. We're just going to move it back to where it was at the first keyframe. And now at 20th frame, the 20th frame, we're going to just move it back to 0. And now what we're going to do is add another keyframe with I. So now once that is complete, we're just going to run the animation and see what happens. Wait a second. So here you will see that the cube shifts back a bit, which is due to how the animation was prepared. And you can make an animation in various ways, tweaking up many values as you want. Let's say I do this and make it so that the cube floats in the air. We add another keyframe to that, and now it will go up all the way up there. And if you want frames to be a bit slower, you think that it is taking way too short to reach there, you can just add a large gap between your two keyframes. So here I have chosen a gap of 60 instead of 10, and we're just going to move it downwards like this. And now we're going to add the keyframe. So now it should slowly drop. Oh, oops. Here. So it just slowly dropped there. S- The frames are actually calculated based on how many the time between each frame is calculated based on how you have the frames. So when we have 60 frames between our first keyframe and this keyframe, it has 60 frames of time to reach from that point to this point, which makes it so that the screen is a bit slow. We can also change something called the frame rate. The frame rate tells our engine, the blender, that how many frames are to be processed every second to give the animation a smoother or choppier experience. So if we choose let's say custom, and let's set the FPS to, let's say, 12, which is a pretty bad FPS, you will see that it feels extremely choppy when we move. However, when we set it back to something beefy like 240, it looks a lot more smooth now. And of course, if you want to simulate your PC, you can add this, and now, yeah, it will run at 2 FPS. But it is not very practical, obviously. So that was it for today, guys. Thank you for watching the video, and rent is due 2 months for me. So please subscribe so I can afford living in my house and actually making videos. Like, share, subscribe.